Hi, this is Tom Painter for the Money Made Easy Academy and Foundation. Congratulations, you've gone to the next step. Now, I'm going to erase all of this and we're going to spend a minute and go into these areas individually and talk about the different stages of things we're going to do next. But remember, as I talked about, this is real estate going up in value as well as working on health, wealth, and multiple streams of income and the 5 steps. So now there are 3 major steps that we're going to get into over the next little while. So step number 1 is that we need to see where your money's going. Now there's 5 steps in what we're teaching you, and then one of the first things is we need to see where your money's going. Because if you can't manage $5,000 or $50,000, how are you going to manage $500,000 in rental income? Or how are you going to manage millions of dollars of investments if you can't manage the smallest part? So one of the things, one of your first assignments is to draw this out again. So I'm going to review it with you right here. This number 1 is to make more money. Number 2 is to separate your money. Number 3 is to give. Number 4 is to save and invest. And number 5 is to spend sparingly. So number 5 is to spend sparingly. So step number 1 is to make more money. Now you have a job. What I want you to do is I want you to tell me, and I want you to draw this out, how much money do you make a year right now in your job? How much money comes in your gross pay with your job? Okay? And I want you to come up with a number. And I'm going to use the number of 50,000 just for ease so everybody can do it. But we'll use the number of $50,000. So $50,000 is coming into the top of your funnel. Now, as that money's coming in, are you able to give any of it away? Now, the reason for this is because we need to be able to save on some taxes. Number 2 is, what is your program for saving and investing? Now, I'm a big fan of these 2 steps being separated. We have a separate account, a separate savings account for your savings. You need to have a small emergency fund. You know, if you are in debt, if your thing starts out as your net worth and you have a lot of debt, then we need to figure out how to attack that. Now, one of the programs we have is how to manage your cash flow on one piece of paper. This is a very fun, interactive little system that you can click on and we'll take you through it, where it brings in your income. You are separating it. You're figuring out how much you want to give. You want to figure out how much you can save and invest, because those are 2 separate things that we want to be able to do. And then on spending, you have a couple different areas where your spending goes. You have some things that are fixed. For example, if you have debt, a student loan or a car loan or a house loan or whatever it is, those are fixed expenses on a monthly basis. And then you have some variable expenses, things that pop up. And then you have some discretionary things that you get to choose on. And so this little system that we have, which is to manage your cash flow on one piece of paper, is going to take you all through that. And that will be on a whole video to help you go through that. So step number 1 is we need to figure out where you're at right now. And the goal is, if you have a lot of debt, that's part of your net worth right here. So what is your net worth? Your net worth is basically all your savings, all your investing. That's your net worth right there. Now, if you have a lot of debt, so these are your assets. Those are things that are of value, minus your liabilities. And your liabilities are basically your fixed expenses that you have. These are your liabilities, and then that equals your net worth. So if you have assets of $100,000 and you have liabilities in student debt and other things of say $70,000, your net worth is basically the difference of $30,000. So that's one of the first things we want you to figure out is where you're at. That's step number 1. Now step number 2 is we need to figure out how to make some more money. And we'll have more classes that go into more detail on this one. But step number 2 is how to make more money. And one of the first things is to make more money at your job. That's crucial. You already have a lot of money coming into your job. So the fastest way is to make extra money. Can you get a raise? Can you get a new job? Can you ask for a raise? Can you find a competitor that you can go work for that you can move up to a higher pay? Can you find a problem to solve? One of the quickest ways to make a lot more money is to go find a bigger problem. Neurosurgeons make a lot more money than nurses, who make a lot more money than the receptionist, because neurosurgeons solve the biggest problems. Okay? So you need to find a problem. In real estate, we're looking for problems. We're looking for problems because if you can solve that problem, you can make a lot of money. The same is true with your job. Whatever job you're working at right now, find the problem. Don't run away from the problem. Find the problem. Talk to your boss. What's the biggest problem we have? What are the things that are going wrong? And then figure out a solution to fix them. If you do that, you will make more money. If you're into sales, you can make a lot more money by increasing your sales. And so that's the first thing you want to do, is to make more money at our job. Now, the third thing we want to do is we need to get our investment accounts set up. Now, there's a couple different investment accounts that we're going to look at. And we have a lot of other classes that we'll tie this into, but really there's a couple different investment accounts that we want to get you involved in. And one is just a regular investment account. And so you can go down to Charles Schwab or Fidelity and you can open up a stock investment account. Number two is you can have a Roth IRA, and you can have an IRA as well. These are simply accounts that are similar to a bank account. The difference is that you can buy different stocks in those accounts. Now, an investment account, you can simply buy and sell stocks in it. An IRA is a long-term retirement account that you do not get any benefit. You get a benefit today from taxes if you put your money into a regular IRA. But the problem is that years down the road, when you want to take all that money out and use it, you have to pay taxes on everything, including the gain. So if you're going to open up an account, I'm going to recommend that you open up a Roth IRA. Now, a Roth IRA was named after Congressman Roth, and he was a senator. And he said, hey, I'm not going to give you a benefit today when you put money into a Roth IRA for your long-term retirement, but I'm going to let you grow all of it. All the money you put in there and all the growth gets to go up tax-free. So when you get older and you start pulling money out, it's all tax-free. Now, if you're younger and you need to borrow that money to go to college, or you need to borrow that money to buy a home, you can borrow against that Roth IRA. But that's how I'm going to teach you how to be able to do that, is in one of those accounts. Now, let me talk to you briefly about the stock market, because that is all part of our long-term save and invest. And then step number 3 is that we're going to talk about how to make some quick cash. So the stock market, let's talk about that just for a second, because some of the income that you're going to put away for long-term is that we're going to buy stocks. Now, stocks, McDonald's creates hamburgers. It sells hamburgers. As it makes a profit, you can make a little bit of that profit. And there are thousands and thousands of companies. Nike, Apple, McDonald's, all kinds of companies. Nike is one of my favorites. But there's all kinds of companies that you can pick and choose which company and which that you want to invest in. The problem is most people are not very good at it. They're going to pick and choose. They're going to buy at the wrong time and sell at the wrong time because they're using emotion to do that. So step number 1 is that you can buy and sell stocks on your own. Number 2 is, so this one is your own. Number 2 is you can hire someone to be able to do that for you. We call that a mutual fund. And they're going to pick and choose the stocks that are in that mutual fund. That's great because you can hire somebody that's what they do full time. The negative is that they're going to charge you between 1 and 2% of money under management to do that. So that's a problem. So if your stock went up 6% and you're paying out 2% for them to manage it, they basically your net's 4%. They basically took 33% of your gain just to manage it. So that's something I don't really like. Number 3 is by the S&P 500. The S&P 500 are the largest 500 companies in America. And nobody's deciding, should I buy this stock or that stock or whatever. It's just the 500 largest companies in America. And the nice thing about that is that the cost for them to manage that is a fraction of what it is to pay somebody over here, because it's just the top 500 companies. And so if you made 6% on that portfolio and you only had to pay less than 1% or half of that, you're going to make 5.5% of your profit, or you're basically keeping about 85% of the profit, which is a great way to go. And then the next one is Berkshire Hathaway. This is my favorite company that I follow, and it's BRK.B. This is Warren Buffett. I actually have 3 of Warren's autographs. I've met him. And what's nice about that is that this is basically a stock. It's a share of stock. And you can buy that for around $200 US for a B share, but it's about 300 grand if you want to buy the big one. But it's the B shares are just a smaller portion of an A share. And what's nice about it is that this is a big insurance company. They own all kinds of insurance companies. And those insurance companies bring in revenue on a monthly basis as people are making insurance payments on their car or their home or what kind of their insurance. That money comes in, and Berkshire takes all that money and invests it. Right now they have $120 billion in what we call float. That's money that people have given them for a policy that they get to take that money and invest. Now, if a person gets in a car accident, then they'll pay the money to be able to take care of the car accident. But what's nice is that Berkshire Hathaway has a lot of money in float. Number 2 is they can buy wonderful companies at discounts. When people are selling, these guys want to buy. You know, Warren Buffett says be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful. And so Berkshire Hathaway is a wonderful company. So the short lesson on the stock market is that most people do not do well when they buy and sell their own stocks. Number 2 is you can do a mutual fund, which is great because most mutual funds outperform people buying and selling. But you're going to pay anywhere from 1% to 2% for money under management. So they're taking a big chunk of your profits. Number 3 is just buy the S&P 500. The S&P 500 outperforms most mutual funds. If you just buy the 500 biggest companies in America, it's going to outperform at least 2/3 of the professionally managed funds because of the fees they charge. And Berkshire Hathaway does better than the S&P 500 because it has so much money in float. And you can buy 100,000, you can buy $1 million, you can buy $2 million worth of stock in Berkshire Hathaway, and your total commission is $4.95, one-time commission, and there's no money under management. Okay, so this one outperforms this one, who outperforms this one, who outperforms that one. So that is a brief piece on that. There will be some more classes. We're going to get into great detail on the stock market, but really that's where that's at. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is your asset allocation. You are going to either loan or own things. You're either going to loan, if you take 100% of your money, you're going to take some of that money and you're going to loan it to others. When you take money down to the bank and you put money into the bank account, you're loaning money to the bank. When you buy a bond, when you buy a treasury bond or a CD, a certificate of deposit, you're loaning money to someone else. They take your money and they go make more money with it. Okay? Or you're going to or to own. So you can have savings account, that's loaning. A CD is loaning. A bond is loaning. And so out of 100% of your money, some of that money is going to go into the loan side. And then some of it's going to go into the own side. You're going to take a small percentage of what you're doing, 10% of it, and pick the stocks that you like. You know, I do that. I pick the stocks that I like. But I take the majority of my money and put it here and here. Because the 500 biggest companies are going to outperform the mutual fund companies who are out going to perform those guys. And Berkshire Hathaway, over a long period of time, is going to outperform them all. Anyway, there's more information that we're going to send out to you. This is just kind of a teaser to get you started into the investment side of the world. And again, if you haven't joined the challenge for some reason, make sure you go to the Road to Wealth Challenge, the roadtowealthchallenge.com. Click on the link so that you can join and be part of that. There's no cost to be part of this challenge. The only thing we're going to ask you to do is that you share this information with others. And as you make money, I'm going to ask you to do step number 3, which is to give some of it away. I want you to take 10% of that money or 5%, whatever you want to do, and give to the churches and charities of your choice. This is on the honor system. We're going to ask you just to do that. If you like what I'm doing with my foundation, with the MoneyMadeEasyFoundation.org, I'm happy to help you deploy some of that money, or many of the different charities that I've worked with. Again, this is Tom Painter. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I'm going to give you a quick overview of real estate before we really kick off the challenge. Thanks for watching.